What's going
Hello,
on,
hello.
social media? So we're on episode 80. So we've
80
done
already?
80 episodes, and today we are to go still dive into the small, mid-sized enterprise marketing. And today we go talk about when it comes to marketing, it's a lot like running a race when you're a small to mid-sized enterprise. It's all about how you pace yourself. So a lot of people think about marketing just think about, okay, you set a budget aside, you have a
Hmm.
strategy, and you just go. And you hear all these gurus, consultants, marketing people online, and they tell you you need to do it all, right? Everything from email campaigns, social media, videos, TV, radio, SEO. You gotta be everywhere. But when
Hmm.
it comes to a small to mid-sized enterprises, which I work with a lot of them, I bet you different. So let's talk about this a little bit, and we have Eldrick here as well. Just joined us, so let's get started. So it's
Yep.
just us for tonight. So sorry, no guests, everyone. But Gabe, who's watching tonight, he's gonna be our guest for next week. So
All
Gabe
right.
Neal's gonna be joining us. So but tonight let's talk about pacing ourselves when it comes to marketing and what does that look like. So
Hmm.
we always start with Jeremy.
Yay. uh, I wonder
So
how you did.
Jeremy, I know you
Go
work
ahead.
for a larger company. So
I do.
when it comes to marketing, what does that look like, especially going into 2022? What are kind of the things a larger company does to prepare for the following year?
Yeah, funny you ask because we're kind of like in budget season in the sense that for my company, our financial year actually started this month, right? Um, October to September. So prior to the financial year starting, we have our annual planning, right? We try to figure out what's the budget allocated, and then we try to figure out what are the objectives we need to do, and figure out how the budget allocated is supposed to meet those objectives, right? That's always the first step because marketing is a support function. We are tied to the hip with salespeople. It's the two have to work together, right? And um, and the budget really is to help sales get more revenue in the sense of whatever activity you mentioned just now, it's really for lead gen, or you do it for branding, or you do it for thought leadership, all this good stuff. It's really to help the sales build a funnel, or even better, get the business in, right? As opposed to uh, your customers going for other brands. Right. So that's the basics. You have your budget, you have your goals in terms of measurable things like getting X amount of leads in, or doing how many campaigns, or doing how many videos, all those things. And then you map it out with the budget on a 12-month calendar. And you try to, as the theme for today, pace yourself out, right? Your money and your activity. So that's kind of like, in a very simple manner, how we do it. I guess most people do it that way, to plan it out, your activity, your energy, and your finances, and your resources, your manpower. And we do that at the beginning of the year, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't change, right? Because say come December, we'll be coming to the end of our first quarter, and that's where the real numbers roll in, right? And depending on how we do, we either get a bump up in marketing budget, which rarely never happens, or we get our budgets reduced, which more often than not happens multiple times throughout the year. So it remains fluid, and then it's back to the drawing board. You see what you need to take out, you see which activities you need to take out because the budget is not there anymore, and then you improvise, yeah. And you probably do that another one or two other times to the year before the entire planning starts all over again. So that's kind of the start for this, for tonight's topic for now. Yeah.
No, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you brought up a few good points, Jeremy. You were talking about budgeting, right? So a
Yeah,
lot of SMEs, when it comes to marketing, they don't really foresee, they don't look at the budget for an entire year, right? They just,
correct.
okay, let's spend as we go. And oh, if we have some leftover money, let's spend it on marketing. If we don't, then, let's not, right? Because
Yeah,
a lot of times when you're a small, mid sized enterprise, a lot of sometimes the sales team is also doing the marketing, right? It's all just tied together. And a lot
correct.
of smaller enterprises, they don't know how to separate that sales and marketing is two separate functions, but they go hand in hand, right?
Yeah, and put it this way, I'm not saying that small medium enterprises are guilty of this. In fact, whether it's MNCs as well, I think sometimes we're guilty of it as well, in the sense that we regard marketing as a necessary evil. Meaning, you do all your budgeting and then whatever numbers left, okay, let's put it with marketing, for example, and it is parked there. And when you hit a bad patch, right, numbers are not coming in, you go back and that's the first thing you look at. Yeah, marketing budget. We put too much marketing budget. Maybe we should trim it off. I think that's happening everywhere, I guess, especially during pandemic. But we also see the other spectrum whereby experience and history has taught us brands that invest in marketing during tough times like pandemic, they come out way ahead of their competitors when you get out of the bad patch, be it a financial crisis or a pandemic. So there's always these two conflicting way to look at marketing. But as textbooks would say, right, in terms of the budget, usually it is expressed as a percentage of the annual revenue you are trying to achieve, right? I'm not sure if the textbooks were updated 1 or 2%, and also it so depends on your industry, because you can benchmark against your competitors how much they spend if you have that data, and it will also be different for B2B versus B2C. B2C will probably invest a lot more in marketing. They put a bigger percentage because it's required, right, to reach out to the masses. They need to target more people and all that good stuff. So I'll just leave it as there, and then see you guys want to hop on and comment on anything. Yeah, Jen.
Yeah, I wanted to see if I could hop on real quick just so I don't forget what my thoughts are. So I definitely feel that you guys have a lot of knowledge in the area of marketing. I just kind of want to jump on board behind Jeremy because I feel like he's speaking kind of in more broad terms of the way most companies do it, especially your medium to larger. From my experience and also opinion, with a lot of the small businesses, see a medium to large has already been established for quite some time in order to grow to that level or that size. So they've already established themselves in the market, established their market, and also established their a lot of times establish their social media presence or following. So, or if they've already become famous when they get on social media, just like an influencer or a movie star, people just immediately follow them and they have like millions overnight. But with small companies, when they first start out, when they're just launching or they've only been there a couple years, from my experience, when they don't have a lot of budget typically to work with. And so when they first come in, we have to look at like you said, how much budget do you have? And then what's really going to be helpful to you? Now, what I've seen through watching the journey of these small companies is they come in wanting everything that you just described, but they don't have the budget for it. And they also don't have the following. So it's not realistic. So typically what they have to do is actually establish themselves in the market first. What is my market and how do I make myself known? Well, a lot of it is online. Yes, you need to be out in the community establishing yourself in that way, but you also need to be online and get these accounts set up. But once you get these accounts set up, if you immediately just start advertising, you don't have any following. So you have to build that. And if it means you don't have the budget, you need to do it by yourself, get some advice, study up, research, establish your social media accounts, get your website going, build your audience, drive traffic to your website through your socials. But you have to have that base before you can start thinking about advertising and getting all of these leads. Whereas a large company already has all of that established, and can say, here's our budget, because we actually have one, and we already have all these eyes on us. So what are we going to do to draw people? So.
Yeah, great point. Because I've been in a privileged position of not having to be in a startup environment. So to me, it's kind of like every year I work this amount. I try to spend it all, get as much returns as I can. And thanks for pointing it out, because I know I've been blessed. I don't have to be worried about getting followings or where's the money going to come in for the budget for marketing. Yeah, but that's really a valid point for SMEs.
No, but on your side though, it's awesome because you can choose where to spend that money, and you do have a certain amount to spend. So it's still, it's still you figuring out where is that money going to go and what's going to benefit this company. So it's still important. I'm just saying, when you look at it from your side, from small to large, there's definitely a difference in the amount of money that's available, in the way that you market something. Most people aren't willing to build first. They want to go straight to marketing because we want to make money, but you actually have to build yourself in the market and establish your market.
Yep. That's right.
That's good. Aldrich, thoughts?
For the morning.
So today
there's budgeting, and then there's the establishment.
Yeah, we're talking about when it comes to marketing for the SME. A lot of times people don't talk about this, is also pacing. Just like running a marathon, everyone wants to do everything, right? When you talk to these small business owners, a lot of them are visionaries. They have this idea, we have a great product or a service, and we want to start up.
Let the whole world know.
Yeah, with a bang, right? But then how do you pace your budget? How do you pace, what marketing are you doing, right? So, yeah.
I'll put it this way. I finally got this. Took me a long while.
Oh, yeah.
It took me a long while because I didn't want to use my own savings to get it. I wanted to first derive income and then get it and then feed it back to what I'm doing. I think when we think about marketing, whether it's a small business or a bigger one, the bigger one has the advantage of demanding for a budget. Okay, but whether you get it or not is a different thing. Okay.
Yep.
And you're always at the mercy of being slashed, which is common. But when you're small, you don't have that advantage. So you have to be. I will go 2 to 3 steps further than what Jennifer has mentioned in terms of building your audience and things like that. What I'm gonna say is this: be very have some clarity in terms of what you are doing as opposed to what you want to get. What you want to get is the results, and results are always external. You don't, sometimes when the trend comes and you happen to be on it, you think that you are a genius. Do you guys remember like LinkedIn 2019, early 2020s? We are like influencers, right? Every content post is like 3 digits.
For you, not for me. For you.
No. I'm just trying to say, be very clear of what we are doing. If you're just starting out, you're probably look at it from a channel perspective. You're probably going to invest a lot more effort in your outbound just to get something in your inbound. So just think about it very simply. So what are you going to do in your outbound? Then does it require any form of budget or money on your side? If you do, you're gonna find ways to get it. It's that simple. And we like to think a lot about, I must do this campaign. I must do some dance here and there on this social media platform. I need the board. I'll go event, give a talk. I'll practice my script. I'll have a webinar. I'll do 3 free webinars, and after the next one, I'm going to collect money. I'm gonna have subscription. Doesn't work
I'm
that way.
gonna go sing on the street. Okay, I dance out on the road. Go ahead.
If whether we are going to, whether it's a small business or a big one, if you're thinking about the business per se, you look at how you're going to plan out your inbound and outbound, and try to match it with your cash flow. If you can't get a single dime out of your, unfortunately, we have to think like that. So when you're in a big business, when you're in marketing, you think marketing.
Yep.
I don't care about revenue. It's not my KPI. That's the sales KPI. I don't care about pipeline. That's what BD does. My job is awareness, get it out there, talk about a product, a company, myself, whatever not, on and off. I'll build some personal brand for individual interest. But that's a big company. But eventually, when you scale down, let's say in a startup environment, you have to start matching what I call your marketing inbound, outbound with your sales revenues, sales expenditure. These things are real discussions. Try telling someone in the startup environment that, hey, marketing is about capital expenditure. You need to spend to get this and that, this and that. That fella is just going to be like, no, dude, I haven't had a single dollar of revenue. I'm not going to do that. So what can I do? So that's the question. And then if you collapse it smaller, if you're a solopreneur, you're individual, you're a writer, and things like that, this thing took me forever to buy. It's not that I don't have the money. It's just that I want it to be financed through the work that I'm doing. So for instance, if I have a side hustle, I want to make sure that I earn in my side hustle and then I go and buy the equipment that I need.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how we think about it. So if you start off getting a job in marketing and you're used to like demanding for budget and spending it, and you don't really track your cash inflows, you will suffer. When you get into a small medium business or when you get into a startup, the rules of the games will change. You will be harassed for dollars and cents. People will start asking you, so what's what are we gonna get, or what have we gotten after that event, the physical event, the digital event, or the webinar? You organize everyone to come into the webinar, and we don't have a single deal. What are you gonna say? Are you still gonna say marketing is important? We need awareness and blah 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 blah. People won't want to listen, and I'm saying not because I'm how should I say this? I'm not saying this because I think that's the wrong thing to do. What I'm trying to say is that you have to operate differently in different environments, and it's real. This environment thing, it's a real thing. Even in the financial markets, hyperinflation is one environment, deflation is another environment. Stupid administrators is creating another environment, and the blue wave is another environment, which is, and there's the red wave, and so you respond and adapt accordingly. That's what I mean. Marketing budget is usually elusive. When you grab it, when you get it, better spend it.
Yeah, correct.
When you get it, you better spend it, and you better pay up front. Okay, but the moment you get your budget, I'll pay 100%. I don't need just pay and secure the services later. That's what.
Hey, Aldrich, now I know why you and Kevin get along. He talks about this. He talks about this all the time. The financial side. Yeah.
No, because the environment is the case. So I'm very fortunate to be concurrently involved in the 3 different environments now. So in an office setting, myself, and then individual, a team, and then individual. So things change. We talk about the same things. So for the entire day, I could be talking about marketing, but the dimensions are different. In office, it's a plan. We're gonna do this month. We're gonna have this month, and then this is the topic. This is the people that we want to get, and we go LinkedIn. There's a lead gen, and we're gonna push out all these emails. I'm gonna use HubSpot. This is how we're gonna get the MQLs, right? I think it's called MQLs, marketing qualifying leads.
Yep.
And then there's another team that will kind of talk and say, okay, so how are we going to convert these MQLs to SQLs?
SAL.
Right? There's another team. And then it collapse back to my own projects and ventures.
And then now everyone's talking about the new marketing word on LinkedIn it's like a new one, right? Everyone's using it, and it's like, dude, this has been used so long ago. All these young marketers are using the word MRR, right? Monthly reoccurring revenue. Like something new, right? Oh, you have to bill MRR, and it's like, these are like, elementary terms when you first start your marketing 101 class.
But MRR is getting a lot more attention because I guess everyone, I mean, it has been like this for the past, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, right? Everyone is trying to move to subscription-based services because, well, yeah, no big surprises there, right? Wall Street loves predictability. And if you are a business that have proven predictability, where 90% of your income is coming in every month, that's good news for you, right?
Yep.
So MRR, and then we have also KPIs like cost per customer acquisition, right? Things like that. And
I track that all the time.
Of course, you have to.
I track that all the time. The way, and I'm saying this from the perspective of a startup, where if you want your business to survive, you want to do your own thing, understand the concept of cost of customer acquisition.
Yep.
How much do you spend to get one customer? And the only way for your business to be successful is that your CAC must decline over time. Your cost to acquire your subsequent customers must be cheaper than the first one. If it gets more expensive as you go along,
it means
like dudes, you gotta find a way. I'm so sorry. You gotta get back to the drawing board, right?
If it gets more expensive, it just means that your salespeople are whining and dining the customers too much.
No. From the perspective of, let's say, your side hustles or your own
that
ventures,
would be me.
You need to monitor it.
Yeah.
You need to monitor it, right? So how the question that you need to think about, apart from getting your name out there, your brand out there, your product out there, is how can I drop these costs? So some products are easy. Software products are easy. As you get more and more users to use your software products, the cost of building your software drops as you add more users.
Yep.
Right.
So digital is easy. Physical, wow, you gotta find a way, man. Seriously, that's where you think about your market segmentation and other considerations.
I have a question for Aldrich. So this is a little off of the CAC discussion, but I am actually curious if I were to start a small business today and I came to you with a small amount of money. Okay, I won't put a number on it, but let's just say a low budget. Where would you tell me to put that money first to market myself?
Good question.
Get your first deal first. Keep the money. That's my response. It's nothing to do with Asians or Americans. The way I think about it is very simple. And when I do my peer-to-peer consulting, I tell them the same thing. I say, if you can't bring yourself to a point where you are commercially ready to get $1 of revenue, hang on to your budget.
Good.
Because if you were to do the reverse, which is you spend first to get your $1 of revenue, it's a maybe. It's a maybe. And it's easier to spend. It's very difficult to get. So the trap of having a marketing budget up front where you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to carve it out. I have, let's say, a very decent marketing budget of $5,000. Okay, let's say for individuals or small team. Okay, 5,000 is not going to do a lot. You can spend it. It goes very quickly.
Yeah.
I think maybe for 2 to 3 months you can finish it.
Yeah.
But what if after 2 to 3 months you don't get a single dollar revenue or customer?
That's it. End of budget.
That's it, right?
You're digging a
so
hole.
the money's gone. Yeah. So I don't. My preference, I think you should hang on to that budget first. I think you should try to get your first customer first. So how do you do that? It used to be that social media was the way. I think now it's one of the ways, one of, right? And then try to meet people, just really try to listen. Maybe you do software, right? So when you do your demos and things like that, just try to listen what people are trying to tell you, and then try to get it, whether it's a proof of concept, whether it's a pilot. Get it. Let's say you get a contract of $1,000. Okay, great. Then now you think like an entrepreneur. $1,000. I'm going to feed $800 back into the business. Okay, $200 is for my eating and things like that. You eat a sausage. So out of that 800, you can put at the very beginning you can be aggressive. You put 10% of that 800 back into your marketing attempts, but it has to be tied to your revenue received and not budget allocated. Otherwise, you're not going to survive. So if you don't get your first customer, you blow your first 5,000. What are you going to do? Are you going to tell yourself, I'm going to take another 5,000 from my own savings and put it in? So then that's 10,000. You can blow 10,000 very quickly without getting another customer. So to me, I don't see marketing as marketing. I see as a business. So your marketing, your sales, and then your product and everything must come together. If you're in a big organization, I don't care, right? Like, right?
By the way, as a big organization person, I still need to track all those things. Yeah, acquisition costs, right? How much sales, like you said, MQL and stuff like that. But on your point about pacing that, how you spend the money, get your first customer first. Very true. In fact, the famous Hong Kong actor Nicholas Tse, who has a side business doing all this film production and all that, huge company. He started with not having any investment at all this machine to do all this CGI and all this stuff. He saw there's a need in that market, which he is in the filmmaking industry. Nobody's doing it. He went to get, I think, his first 2 or 3 deals first before he panicked and sourced for second-hand equipment and get the business doing. So what you're saying exactly is correct. Get your first business first, get your first customer in first, then go and panic about, building up your resources at the back end. The customer doesn't have to know that as soon as you deliver, but you have the money coming in. In that sense, you need to pace the cash flow as well, right? Because we're talking about pacing here. That's one of the very important resources. If no money's coming in, you're gonna take a second look about what you're gonna spend the second time you want to put a marketing budget, because you already blew your first one and you don't know what's gonna happen if you spend the second time.
And I think that's the biggest mistake startups make, right? A lot of startup owners think they have a brilliant, everyone who starts a business think they have the greatest idea, they have a valuable product and service, and they go to market. But a lot of startup founders, they don't ask themselves, are you able to sell what you're doing or your product, right? So, and the heartbeat of every business starts with sales. And if you can't acquire customers, I don't care how great your product is, you're going to fail. And I mean, we work with a lot of startup owners, and I see them, and a lot of people think the answer is to dump a bunch of money in marketing, and they think they can hide behind this computer and just do social media or digital marketing, and the more money you pump into it, and customers are just going to happen, right? Well, social media also takes personalities. Are you good on camera? Are you good at writing content? Are you, not everyone makes it on social media. It takes a certain personality type. So you really need to look at the entire scope of everything. So I think it really starts with the founder understanding what their weakness is and what their strength is. If you yourself cannot sell, then you need to find either a strategic partner or hire someone that can sell. So you have to see, hey, what am I weak at and where my strength is and what can I outsource, right? Or don't start a business. Entrepreneurship is the hardest thing you can do. It's not easy. And everything Eldrick brought up and Jeremy brought up, I also experienced myself, right? When I started in my basement, and I did the same thing. I'm a marketing agency, so I definitely believe in marketing, but I didn't spend a dime on marketing, until probably 3 years in,
Because you did it yourself.
Yeah, and a lot of it I did it myself,
Because we're
But
marketing.
to be honest, we started at a time when social media was just starting to kick off where we're at. But I still picked up the phone. I called, and I sold the business myself. I went out and met with people and did old-fashioned relationship and sales. And I don't care what market you're in or time. I think it's still the same today. It has to start within your community, within the people you know. Do you have a valuable product?
Yep. And I love, first of all, that what everyone's saying ties together so beautifully. I mean, I feel like we're covering every aspect of it. But I have to say, when it comes to the sales portion too, I know that's not the marketing side, but it is part of the marketing. I noticed that whether you're small, medium, or large, no matter what size, they always have a sales team or a sales department, because you can't ever stop selling. You can't ever stop marketing. Like, that's just something that's continual as long as you have a business.
I want to
how
touch
small or large. Go ahead, Jeremy. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to touch a bit about pacing, because I think we are still talking a lot more pacing on tying that to the money budget thing, right?
Yep.
But we have not really touched about pacing from the perspective of a manpower allocation, man hours. Yeah. I'm not sure how you handle it, Kevin, but in my experience, right, two things. One thing, I feel that my colleagues from the States, they are very clear on how many hours. They can tell me, oh, I spent 5 hours on this PowerPoint, 10 hours on this pitch, 3 hours on producing this thing. I don't know why it's very accurate, the accountability of the timing. So that's one thing, good in that sense. When you talk about pacing, you're very clear on how many man hours you spend on whatever it is. I don't see that much in Asia. And the second point I want to make is that, but I did come into experience on this part, on clocking your man hours by customer in my days in the advertising agency. So I'm not sure if you do the same, in the sense that, because as in an advertising agency, you have, like, say 5 clients that you that's under you, and every week we are supposed to go in and put estimated, right? Customer A, I spent 5 hours this week. Customer B, I spent 10 hours, etc., etc. Put it into a system, and then obviously the system will link the amount of time you spend with the revenue coming in from each customer, and therefore you do your calculation and crunching numbers, right? You know which customer is most valuable in terms of time spent, and which are a waste of time based on the revenue coming in. So my question here actually is, for Kevin, is that the way you manage your agency as well from a SME perspective? Because that kind of ties in with priority, and in a way also pacing, yeah, in terms of allocation of resources and over time, who do you do more with, right? How you allocate resources. So you want to share a bit on that? How do you manage
same
that?
thing. It's really, you have to track, like, the customers that's going to be your time wasters, and the customers that are, I mean, I'm just going to be honest, like, and the customers that are worthwhile, right? And you have to look at that, determines how you price your marketing, because if they're a high demand, need more, attention from your team, then hey, they're gonna get the premium pricing, because at the end of the day, everything is time based, right? And we can track it through our CRMs, we can track it through just the amount of time per project. Is important, because a lot of people don't think about this when they're in SME, especially when they're not in marketing. When you're small as the founder, a lot of times you're wearing many hats and you're doing the marketing yourself. But you have to think about, I see all these people on social media, and they listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, they listen to Ty Lopez, and all these people, right? Who has already arrived. And they they listen and then they dive in and they think, hey, I'm just going to do all this stuff myself. So
You can.
So it goes back to Jeremy's conversation. The time you're investing, engaging. I mean, I'm going to just be honest with you. Do you see me engaging on LinkedIn right now? Probably not very much, okay? And I'm sorry for our audience out there. I'm not engaging near as much as last year because I don't have time. My ROI is not sitting here on LinkedIn engaging with you. I'm sorry. It doesn't pay for my house. It doesn't pay for my cars. I'm just being honest, and this is a very honest talk. Where I make money is when I'm not sitting here. So if you see Kevin on social media engaging with you, most likely I'm slow, and now I'm busy. So I'm in meetings, I'm in meetings, I'm doing work, I'm project managing. I don't have time. It's not, hey, I'm not a friendly person. It's not, I don't like the people on social media. It's also a lot of the social media people are not people that are going to pay my bills. Mm-hmm. So you have to be honest with yourself. The biggest lie into marketing today from influencers is because they want to sell you on your courses. They want you to sell your attention to watch their videos. Okay. The truth is, if you're sitting here doing social media as a startup, get your butt up and go sell your product. Go do something. Go build community. Go find your customers. Go email them. You're going to get a lot higher ROI. And this is coming from a marketing person. I love for you to pay me, manage your social media. But if you're a startup, be careful where you spend your money. Every dime counts. And you have to understand your cost of acquisition and also the cost of your time. Is it more valuable for you to sit here and engage with Jeremy, Eldrick, Jennifer, and Kevin? Or is it worth more for you to go sell a house? Or to sell a piece of clothing, You have to look at that. And if it's not worthwhile for you, then you might want to pay for marketing assistance or someone else to go do social media for you, So it's all about balancing how much does it cost. It goes back to what Eldrick said, to acquire the customer, and how much is your time worth? Is your time worth you learning how to do social media and doing it yourself? Because there are social media people that get very creative, post stuff on there, very quickly, compared to you trying to figure out all the funnels or trying to figure this out. And during that time, you probably already sold, several $1,000s worth of stuff, right? So that's important.
So are you saying then that, I hear what you're saying. It kind of matches with what I was saying earlier too. But, well, I just totally lost my question I had for you. My mind just is,
don't worry about it.
It totally derailed, but.
I think a lot of SMEs, they don't know, like, how much is the product you're selling? Example, let's do real estate, right? Real estate is a big piece, it's expensive. You sell a $300,000 home, you get 4%. Dude, that's good money, right? But you could probably acquire that, maybe running just a $50 campaign on social media. That's a good ROI. But if you're selling t-shirts, online, and your t-shirts, let's say, is $15 to $20, dude, it's going to take you a lot of $15 to $20 t-shirts to get your marketing dollars back. So how much do you want to invest in marketing? So you have to ask yourself those questions. And if you don't understand that concept, then you need to question if you should be a business owner,
So Kevin, I did think of my question. So when you're doing marketing for people, a lot of times it is it's to save them time, or because they may know how to do it. So you're saving them time, or you're saving them. Sometimes you're saving them money, because time is money. And then sometimes I heard one other thing that you said. no, actually, you didn't say this. They're paying for your knowledge.
Technical expertise, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And experience.
sometimes there's so many different avenues of marketing. There's so many different social media channels. So you're actually, because you have delved into all that and you understand it, you can kind of tell them how to, where to, when to, you know, all that different stuff, so that sometimes they're just paying for consulting.
Yeah, it's paying for expertise, right? You know, you pay Eldrick, you know, if he, you know, he's understands, you know, finances, you know, or the stock market. You know, Eldrick can probably give you some advice versus if you're starting out yourself and trying to do it. It's going to take you time to learn it, right? And I think a lot of people forget a lot of times, why do you go to an agency? It's not, I think the biggest mistake SMEs do is, I'm going to go to an agency because they're going to create more business for me. I'm sorry. You need to create more business for yourself. And if you're a business owner and if you don't know how to create business for yourself, then you need to question why you're a business owner. You know, you got to get creative, and you got to, you know, knock those doors down, figure it out, right? But a lot of times when you're an SME and you're looking for an agency, it's also time savings. Hey, does it make sense to hire an agency because, hey, well, I need to spend my time selling my business versus doing marketing or doing social media. So you need to kind of balance everything out. So how much do you want to do? And do you have the team to do it, right?
Mm.
Yep.
It's also about
And I
pacing
think
your
it's similar
highest.
to a bigger companies too, Jeremy, like where you're at, right?
Yeah.
You know, a bigger company is the same thing. How many marketing people do you hire, you know, versus your sales team, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's my point, right? You need to pace your hiring as well. I mean, in terms of scaling, if you are good at doing what you do, right? When you want to scale, you have to pace that as well. That's why it's very important to put the entire year's plan on perspective, like on a 12-month PowerPoint, whatever, different blocks. You map out every activity you're going to do, attribute the money to it, who's going to do what, if you can, right? Estimate down to how many hours you're going to take, because you can have like you know, you said earlier, I want to do everything. I want to do social, I want to do TV ads, I want to do video, I want to do long form content, blogging, ebooks, whatever. So many things you can do with a single campaign. Do you have the people to do that? And you will not know that unless you put everything on a piece of paper and you see if there's overlap, somewhat like a Gantt chart, right? Overlap, and then you see, do I really have that many people to do that? Because this was exactly what happened in our last planning for this financial year. So I reported global. I take charge of Asia Pacific in some marketing. Global has their set of campaigns, or these are the global campaigns. We have to do sustainability, we have to do year-end holiday, blah, blah, blah. And it's mapped out by quarter, yeah? But on my own, I have to be of service to all the different country leaders to help support their sales, which means there's another separate calendar which I need to support Singapore, I need to support Australia, I need to support Japan, all that. So if I put the two together and they overlap each other, and then the real question will be not so much of money, but do I have the number of people to do that? Because if you don't, you need to flag out and say, sorry, I can do this, but not this. It's not about money. It's about, I don't have enough 24 hours. I don't have 48 hours a day. I don't have that many hands and legs on the ground to execute it. Yeah. So that's important. And if we look at startups and SMEs, I just want to quickly, talk about this. Yeah. When you talk about pacing, I feel now startups have, especially the successful ones who are able to pitch their story. I feel that now it's much easier for them to get funding because you have crowdfunding, crowdsourcing, right? You have VCs who are just willing to pump in the money to get that next unicorn. In that sense, you see a lot of business models, the bigger startups, whereby they are spending a lot more than money coming in, right? A lot of cases, yeah. You see in this part of the graph, C, as in SEA, my last name, C is a big company, not related to me. They certain parts of the business is making money, certain parts is just losses. But VC investment is still coming in, yeah. So that has to do with pacing as well, yeah. And like what Eldrin mentioned, right? If you don't have your money coming in yet, why are you spending more than it's coming in? maybe they have a certain projection, right? Maybe they've sold their story so well that VC money is still coming in, right? But at certain point, that will break. That will break down. If if it is not sustainable, it will come crashing down. Yeah. And I think Aldrich will have something to say about that. Aldrich, you want to comment on that? On these startups whereby they get VC funding, and they don't pace themselves. They spend a lot more on marketing, getting a name out there when money is not coming in yet. And the way to keep the wheel spinning is to get in more VC funding, right?
In truth, you're not going to get VC funding if your pitch is about marketing.
Oh, that's
reality
true.
falls. You're not going to get it. Try pitching Series A, B, C, round 1, 2, 3 to let's forget about VC. Let's say we take a tier down, angel investors, and you say, oh, I want to get funding from you, either via debt or equity, because I want to grow my marketing footprint in this space. The angel investor is going to say, I got better alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
It's reality, right? Because these days, people are more interested to know where you are and what's your path to profitability. That's the language of business.
Correct.
And if you only talk about marketing, then that's expenditure. So I'm not saying this to put you down as a marketing
No, you're exactly right.
But when you think business and when you think about funding, people want to know, if they put $1 with you, in 5 years' time, can I get back 1.2, 1.1, 1.5? Can you do that? And can you actually demonstrate that if you spend all of this on marketing, you can get me to a 1.2 or 1.5? You might not like the ROI discussion, but that's irrelevant because that's how people think about things. So, right, you got to think about your pitch. You're probably not going to get your funding for marketing or for now, if you say you need the money because you need to increase your headcount or employees, you're not going to get it unless you can say that helps you scale your business, grow your revenue, and build more assets. So be clear. Be clear on increasing headcount, marketing, getting tech support and things like that. The pitch will not fly. And I see this over and over. There's one commonality. These startup entrepreneurs or side hustlers, they are never successful. Never. It's consistent, right? When they start talking about I need more marketing dollars, I need to hire tech support for my no, that's not gonna fly. It doesn't check the boxes, right? Unless okay, this is my path, my revenue path. 5 years ago I was here, now I'm here. If we follow this trajectory, I'm going to get to a 1.2 as of today. This is how I'm going to do it, and this is how I'm going to spend my money to get it. Okay, right? So people can see. Right. So I think the way we think about things today, especially when we are in the employment setup, is that we silo ourselves. So we only look at what you have to do, and we look at the plan, and we go down the plan, and we say, this is what we have to do, who's going to do this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do this. It would be very interesting in the future, Jeremy, when you do your own thing. Then you'll start to really understand what I'm trying to say here, because then you are everything.
Yep.
You will no longer be thinking about this is what I need to do, this is the software tools I need, this is the yada yada yada. You're not going to think about that. You'll be thinking about how to get what I want, as opposed to what should I do? How do I get what I want? So what do you want? You want customers, right? You want revenue of let's say 8,000 a month by your 6 months, by 8 months, and from there you work back, and you will no longer be thinking of marketing as marketing. You'll be thinking, I'm going to visit my client today. It's obvious I'm going to pitch my product, so I'm going to pitch. There's a product demo, there's a client discussion. which part of this can I expose it as a matter of convenience to my digital footprint? So I might be presenting halfway like now on the phone, and I just write a post on bottoms up this morning. Ha! That's it, done. And then you get back to your focus, right? Which is the product pitching, your client, and things like that. So then you become a one person shop reasonably. There's no need to kill yourself. You know, like I got to tweet this.
Pace.
I gotta do that. Leave some thinking time. It's more important.
So I have a very, very important question just to kind of break up the conversation.
Go ahead.
At what point, like at what revenue, like a certain point in my revenue, could I like indulge for myself? Like at what point would I like
never?
No, listen. Like, if I wanted to buy Kevin a bidet and switch out his toilet for a nicer one, at what point would I get to do that?
I don't know how to answer that. At the point whereby you feel that you need it, or at the point you feel that I've made enough, or at the point that you feel like it's time I pamper myself. I think if you take a look at all these success stories, right? Those, or I don't know, billionaire by under 30 years old, things like that. I think the common theme is that they never stop. They don't take breaks. They don't reach that point. At what point do I? They don't, because what's fueling them is their, well, for lack of a better word, right, vision or passion or their life goal, their motivation.
I think Elon became the number one, and then he starts selling things instead. He's downsizing.
I have to say, though, I have to say this really honestly, and I know this is more in movies, but I would really like to ask somebody who has never stopped all their life. They've gained everything they wanted, but they've never stopped. They've never relaxed. They've never really like taken care of themselves, and they're at the very end of their life. Was it worth it? Some movies I've seen is people had regrets. They had regrets.
I can reply you now, Jennifer.
Huh?
I can reply you now, Jennifer.
Go, Audrey, go.
I got 6 minutes and then I have to default to the next meeting. Okay.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, go.
My aunt, when she passed away, the night before I was with her, she told me one thing. I never regretted every single thing that I've done for myself this lifetime. And she works a lot. So to me, the question that you ask is a logical one, but for people who are clear, it's not a question at all. And I'm going to say something a little cliche because recently I feel that too. If you enjoy working, regardless of what you do, if you enjoy working, you are living your life to the fullest. Do not allow any type B personalities to pull you off your momentum. You will suffer. I cannot take a vacation more than 3 days without doing a thing. I will suffer inside. I'll start thinking, what's the meaning of life? I'll start thinking, why am I doing this? I'll start thinking, oh, geez, this is silly. I should be at least doing something. I should be on a call. I should be like meeting people. And when I brought my family to a beach resort in an Indonesian island, Bintan, it was 4 days. My head never stopped spinning. So when I was there, I looked around and I was talking to the servers, the staff in the beach resort, and I realized that they respond to international guests with standard scripts in English. So I thought, hey, that could be an opportunity. So I spoke to the restaurant manager and I said, do you think you need any form of like conversational English training? I can do a 3-hour workshop with you for X number of staff for this amount. And if you're agreeable, we can do it tomorrow morning and you can reduce my bill by 60% or 70%. And that's what I did.
Did it fly?
My family was with me. My mom did this. My dad was like, And
Money.
my wife literally did this to me. Like, okay, so where I'm coming from is know yourself. If you are the workaholic type and you enjoy it, you know it. If you're working at 11 in the evening,
Yeah, you're
and
in the
you are
zone.
like
The time
really
flies. Yeah.
enjoying it, it's you. Do it. Don't fight back. What I'm trying to say also is have some respect for the people around you. Some people are not like that. It vis-a-vis to me, Jennifer and Jeremy is not like that. So it's fun. It's
Correct.
fun. But if you get me to, let's say, let's do a 1 day vacation, I'll be like, oh my god, what a chore. 1 day vacation. What to do with that? I mean, like, and then you're literally killing my spirit if you tell me you can't bring your laptop, you cannot bring your phone, you cannot bring your speaker, you cannot. I'm like, okay, maybe I won't go, So,
So life is definitely about accomplishing things, because I'm learning if you don't accomplish things.
no, it's about you and what you want to fulfill. Your accomplishments do not exist in silos. Your accomplishments has a context. That context is what you want to do in your lifetime. Then it's called an accomplishment. Jennifer, I'll give you an example. If you're not into sports, what does an Ironman medal mean to you? Nothing. A piece of metal, right? You don't bestow value to it. But if you are into sports and you believe in the lineage of triathlon and things like that, and you finish one event, you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is really an achievement in my lifetime. I've done it. So a lot of things tie in with our personality and how we think.
Yep.
No, and this is great because I know Jeremy has a hard stop, but it kind of leads to my recent post, right? And I think it really goes with this conversation, right? So I'm a huge fan of Michael Jordan, and I watched The Last Dance. This is the second time, and it gets me every time, right? And he said, when people see this, they're going to say, well, he wasn't really a nice guy. He may have been a tyrant. Jordan said, well, that's you, because you never won anything. I wanted to win, but I wanted them to win and be a part of it as well. I don't have to do this. I'm only doing it because it is who I am. Jordan said, getting choked up, he had tears in his eyes when he was talking about this. That's how I play the game. That was my mentality. If you don't want to play that way, don't play that way.
Yep.
And I think that answers kind of what you just asked Jennifer, asked Eldrick, right? And then during this part of the episode, he also said the part before is where he shares, right? No one understands the pain, sacrifice, and suffering that he went through before those who came afterward. So, and I think it really sums up kind of this conversation, because there's certain humans' nature, right? That's just who they are, and they enjoy what they are doing, And they're not asking you to do it with them, And if you decide to do it with them, then you do it with them. But at the end of the day, that's his personality and that's who he is, right? That's who Eldrick is, right? But he's not asking you have to do it with him. He liked you to be a part of it, but you don't have to. And I think it really depends on where your value lies, right? And I agree with Eldrick on that one. It's not always about what you accomplish, because everyone values life differently. Some people value being home and just being with the kids. Some people value having fun. And
that's me, fun.
Yeah, and then there's high achievers. And they don't get tired while they're working,
fun
right?
And travel. And rest and relaxation.
Yeah. But
so when you're in the zone of what you are passionate about doing, time flies, right?
Yep.
It just goes away, right? So for me, it's like when I have to do like a design challenge, I go on Photoshop and lose hours, or when I try to do team building, it's what I love to do. I get so much fun out of it. You can don't pay me, I'll still do it. You know, that kind of thing. And yeah, so I exist for those kind of thing. And yeah, it's fine to me. I managed to create experiences for people who still continue to remember those things that I did. I enjoy it. I still remember it to this day as though it happened yesterday. So that's me. That's my zone. That's my passion. And yeah, I don't need an achievement, accomplishment.
And you gotta respect everyone and their passion and what, you know, and that's, I think God made us all different, you know, and we have our own value, and that's where you need to live. And I think when it comes to back to our topic, right, when it comes to marketing too, is know your business, know it, you know where your strength is, know where your weakness is, know where your budget is, and then remember, you have to pace yourself. You know, the smaller you are as an organization, the more it's important to pace yourself. Because if you don't pace yourself from a budget standpoint and from a manpower standpoint, you're gonna get burned out
die.
and you're gonna fail, right?
Yeah.
And the businesses that make it, they pace themselves very well so that they can sustain through the startup phase.
Yep. And good times are bad times. Yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. I know Jeremy needs to get off. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
See you guys next week.
Thank you for being on the show. And next week, we have Gabe Neal, and we go talk a little more about, utilizing live streaming and his experience as well of building an online community. So we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Work hard.
Bye-bye. Take care, guys.